Hey people, Indrid here. 1v1, Ashes of Typhon Redux, blue side. Pax is a brother captain, a durable hero walking through objects cannot be suppressed, with powerful offense and support, fighting in melee for the Emperor and all that stuff. Red side, Deimos is a Mekboy, teleporting hero fighting in ranged combat with a bunch of orky gadgets and some pretty damn effective guns actually. Expect him to go down the west side, teleporting through and capping everything. This is the Redux version of the map. I'm not sure if I've casted this before. We now have a no natural layout on the VPs running west, center to east. It's also opened up more on this west side. It seems to be based on the 2v2 structure of the map maybe. Stormtroopers are not going to want to mess with this Mekboy. That default shooter he's got is quite painful for those fellas. Strike squad up for Pax, and it's double sluggers for Damos, so expect a battery pack to support them, I think. Maybe a painboy, that'll be fun. Stormtroopers flee at the terror of the Mekboy and his shooter. The Plague Champion looking on with disgusting tears in his eyes at the damage difference between their weapons over there. Even has more melee damage than Mekboy. Come on now, what is going on? Over on the east side, it's turning red thanks to the shooter boys. The strike squad scaring off those sluggers in the mid. Sluggers without upgrades can't really mess with the strike squad. But once they get their burners up, they are a threat. Mekboy has indeed teleported down that west side, grabbing points rather than the... grabbing resource points rather than the VP. Map looking quite red already. Pax focusing on more natural points with their slower and less numbers in their army too. The brother captain's pretty damn slow. Stormtroopers still milling around the west side. They're going to go and harass the Mekboy. They're going to try decapping stuff. Got to try something. But now here comes the Mekboy gun. Kinda lucky there, the Stormtroopers. Once the Mekboy moved, it looks like he targeted another model. Brother Captain mixing it up with sluggers and shooter boys. Not going to win this fight. Pax is just hoping to kill a model or two, and they couldn't do it. Even with the new We Are the Hammer that has splash damage. I think they got a special attack in there too. Interceptors on the way for Pax. So ballsy move against double sluggers. Although they may not necessarily know there's double sluggers. They may not have seen those guys in the mid. If the looter boys capped that VP, I'm not sure if they did. Looter boys, I called them. They're just looters. They're going to suppress this strike squad with their death gun. Limited firing arc. Strike squad now have the Tomes of Titan. So they know some fancy spells also gives them more damage and health. Only melee damage though. And some regeneration. Isn't that nice? Can they catch those guys in melee now? They are taking a strange route, but they got there. Odd that Deimos pushed forward like that, actually. Didn't want to get flanked, obviously, but kind of just ran into them. Mekboy capped this wreck point. They're going to try and get it back. Interceptors are teleporting units, so they will hard counter that looter squad pretty effectively. Also, the shooter boys, of course, need to be much more careful about the sluggers coming in with burners, which are power melee weapons. Really bad news for heavy infantry. This is what the interceptors are. Having to teleport out. That was double sluggers with burners on them there. Look at the damage they took. They barely got into combat. There's banishment thrown in by the strat squad. Does that really not have a minimum range? I feel like most abilities should have a minimum range. But the captain could be in trouble here. Yeah, double sluggers on him. It's bad, bad news with those burners. Might go down, actually. They do indeed go down. Interceptors trying to help out a little bit, but they lose a model. I assume to the Mekboy shooter. A rough start for Pax. Where are the Stormtroopers? They are capping on the west side, but I think they're under attack by something. By the looters, I guess. Teleporting into double sluggers doesn't work out great down to a single model. 8 hit points, 7-6. I think they're okay. Strike squad down to 2. Lucky to only lose 1, I think. They're going to lose their power. 431 to 483. sluggers being used in their ranged stance now to burn things down. These guys decapping. Strong start for Deimos. And they did indeed get the battery pack. 70 energy and 150 health to friendly infantry. I guess it doesn't affect vehicles anymore, which I thought was fun. Interceptors these days have their furious intervention disruptive teleport out the gate, which is pretty nice for them. I think maybe they increased the delay on it though. Purgation on the field. These guys have incinerators by default that can suppress infantry. The Mekboy may try to teleport in and tie them up in melee, so they can't do that. Puts the Mekboy at risk, but probably worth it most of the time to then run your sluggers in safer. As long as they can throw their battery pack heal out before they need to retreat, maybe on themselves, I guess. Stormtroopers. Kind of in cover, I think. I mean, they have the cover indicator, but I'm not sure if all of the models are benefiting from it. Looks like maybe they are. Doing a decent job shooting back on the Mekboy. Power bash by Pax. This is going to be a rough fight, though. Sluggers are still on their ranged stance, I think. Look, they're just using their burners. Big mistake from Deimos. Kept them on range stance. They do go tier 2. Might lose their power because of that. I'm not sure if they could have stopped it with the Purgation and the Strat Squad and the Interceptors, because they would have had banishment and the disruption from the teleport and the incinerators to suppress, teleporting through and getting the Mekboy kill there on retreat. Pax turning it around, went straight for that power and gets it all down. Here come the double sluggers though, with Shooter Boy support. Interceptors trying to decap. There's the teleport. Look at that disruption. Super effective. And special attacks going in too. Sluggers very low. Very, very low. Purgation making a massive difference here. Couldn't quite finish those guys. I think they can finish the looters though. Yes, they do. Oh, there we go. That one model was separated, but they did get them down. Well, big turnaround. Oh, they killed the sluggers. They did kill them. Sluggers down and looters down and power bashed. Here comes the Death Dread, and Pax can't do much about it. And you need to get burners on that thing and go straight for the gens. Stomps around with around 70 DPS heavy melee. Splash damage, of course. Got some shooters on the front, but you can swap that out for burners and some more health too to give it a way to bash power super effectively, which we will most likely see here, I assume. Can't remember how much it is. I assume it's like 30 power. Interceptors are quite low here. Sluggers now have their knob leader, these fellas, and he's very mean. Got a power weapon, goes to town on that Strat Squad. Interceptors also flee. Got level 2 though, the Interceptors. Death Dread is going straight for the gens. There's burners and bits. Oh, it's only 20 power. 140 wreck though. I thought it was 130. 300 more health and get some burners, and look at them go on the gens. And the sluggers can help with more Orky fire. Brother Captain is still down, of course. There's the tier 2 for Pax. The Purgation can get an anti-vehicle weapon. I'm not sure if they go straight for a conversion beamer just for a Death Dread, but I'm not sure if a Psy Cannon is going to be enough. Anti-vehicle weapons that don't deliver their damage in bursts are much harder to make work in general. And they have queued up a Psy Cannon. Maybe they're going to get a Vindicare or a Rhino out in tier 2. Doesn't seem like they queued anything up. Death Dread wants to tangle with everything. Nope, backs off. 326 to 483 on the VPs. Stormtroopers just been used as capping bots so far, basically. Shooter Boys fully upgraded are bad news for those Stormtroopers. Tons of piercing DPS. Mekboy runs. Was repurchased earlier, of course. No one to revive you in a 1v1. Level 2 on this guy. Oh, hey, Brother Captain's back. Yep, he's got some cool voice lines now, that fella. Storm Boys on the way for Deimos. Is a lot of fun. There's the Psy Cannon doing its work. What's the DPS on this thing? It's a lot. 70 DPS for this thing. Did a decent job as the Death Dread ran in. Oh, there's Mind Blades on the Strike Squad. Global buff from the Brother Captain. Very much like use your choppers, actually, from the War Boss. Increasing melee damage and melee skill. And it means that the Strike Squad can win that fight against the Sluggers quite handily. And there's the energy burst on the Mekboy to mess up his energy. Saw him heal those Sluggers as they ran past. Yeah, that Psy Cannon did a good chunk of damage, but just no way to slow this thing down and just running at them. I'm not sure exactly what Psy Cannon does to vehicles, if it's just full damage. Brother Captain doesn't want to fight a Death Dread, trying to just kill some shooter boys and gets tossed around by the Death Dread special attack. I'm not sure what that response from Deimos was. Here we go, Storm Boys have found interceptors, and the Storm Boys with their Nod Leader can stun on landing, because he's a big boy. Got their improved rocket packs as well for a longer jump range, and the Bomber Boys. And those fellas have power weapons, so they are a big threat to heavy infantry. Just got a big heal there from the Mekboy. Having to jump out though. And they lost their Nob Leader in there. Gonna have to repurchase. Impact Grenade in now for the Stormtroopers. They have their Sergeant. You can see him at the front there. It's a handy grenade. What's the Death Dread up to? Death Dread is going in base. Looks like that's either Rampage or Cult of Speed active. Rampage, I think that's Rampage. Rampage is like +4 speed or something crazy, I think. For 10 seconds. I wonder if it stacks with Cult of Speed. That might have been more than 10 seconds, so maybe it was Cult of Speed. Which is a global of the Mekboy, increasing speed and reducing weapon cooldown. Looks like Mind Blades is on the Strike Squad now. Just to help them try to do more DPS to the Death Dread. They're not going to be great at it, but they'll wear it down eventually. Psy Cannon gets a little burst of damage there. Everything does have, you see this blue aura. These guys all take half damage when they're in the HQ aura here. And Death Dread goes down. Was that worth it? I don't think so. They did kill a few Purgation models along the way. And it bought them some time to get the map very red. Maybe. Maybe. Are they just going tier 3 now, Deimos? I think a Weird Boy here would be pretty amazing. Storm Boys get their Nob Leader again. There he is. It is a Weird Boy on the way for Damos. They were probably considering a tier 3 rush. Mind Blades up again on the Strike Squad. Interceptors got absolutely thrashed by the Storm Boys and Sluggers combo. Storm Boys are quite low now though. I think the Strike Squad were on them for all of that. There's a Bomber Boy. Doesn't finish off the Interceptors though. I think that's what they were going for. And now Strike Squad on retreating Storm Boys. Can they get them? Did they keep them in play too long? One hit point, down they go. That's a big loss for Damos. Big loss. Weird Boys up. Support and Disruption Subcommander for Orks. Super effective and fun. Has a great standard ranged attack too. Sluggers mixing it up with the Strike Squad, who are now level 3 and doing a really good job without buffs here. Even the Mekboy here to support the Sluggers couldn't get it done. Sluggers are going to die. Sluggers do die. That was very strange. Were they... I thought maybe they were waiting to use Coolder Boys. But those Sluggers are just dead in a straight up fight there. Very strange. Not often you'll see that happen. Level 3 Strike Squad getting it done. What about the Interceptors? Also level 3. Over 2,000 hit points on these fellas now. There's tier 3 for Damos. They may have just been freeing up upkeep, but doubtful. Those were upgraded Sluggers, which are pretty viable for the whole game. Usually it's shooters that you'd see thrown away to free up population and upkeep. But at this point, being outnumbered, you wouldn't expect them to throw anything away. Map looking very blue all of a sudden. Brother Captain trying to chase the Mekboy around, being frustrated. No war gear for this fella. No levels for this fella either. The core of Strike Squad and Interceptors have been carrying the battles very much so. These Stormtroopers are really low. Oh, down goes the Mekboy, got caught. Was busy shooting the Stormtroopers. Weird Boy getting those plasma cannon damage type basic attacks in. Look at that. I always forget to check what the Weird Boy's melee DPS is. He does have a special attack in melee as well. Kind of slams his staff on the ground. It's very cool. Don't get to see it that much. Okay, Deimos is tier 3. And they go for a tank. I was expecting them just to roll out a Nob squad, but maybe they think with Brother Captain support, the Mind Blades, and 2 level 4 squads here, that's maybe not the most efficient way to go. So they've gone for a vehicle. The Psy Cannon will of course be a threat to it still. And Interceptors can get Psy Cannons themselves. I believe it's tier 3 upgrade. Weird Boy got very low there. I feel like these base turrets are not great at stopping base rushes because these two are quite far back. Only this one is close. Is it the same on the other side? Yeah, these are also not great at stopping base rushes. They're quite far back. This one can be avoided entirely by going through here. Oh wait, I always put a bunch of base turrets on the maps I make. Try to help against those base rushes. Generally not a part of the game that I think is very nice or very good or very well fleshed out. Very frustrating to be base rushed and stuff. But I guess you could call it a viable tactic. Rewarding mobility and perseverance and timing. We got some more sluggers for Damos. Looted tank has not got the boom, reinforced plating upgrade, which gives it the boom gun. The Weird Boy's awesome warp vomit was a little bit late there. You do have to get used to the timing, the animation timing of that. And now he needs to run. Sluggers coming in, getting their Nob Leader before the burners. Looted tank should be able to deal with this. Boom! That was a pretty good first shot. That would have killed that fella if they weren't retreating here. Oh, here comes the Vindicator Assassin. Sub-commander for the Ordo Malleus. Can switch his ammo to combat all targets using turbo penetrator rounds to shoot at this looted tank. A long-range sniper. Going for their chameleon stealth suit. Interceptors coming to say hello to the sluggers, and at level 4 they're going to deal with them quite handily, especially without the burners on those fellas. Mekboy goes to the central VP. In terms of VPs, 117 to 203. VP lead for Deimos then. Oh, that's rear armor hits on the looted tank. Looks like it's got far enough away from the Vindicator. And those two are more than a match for those poor sluggers who do get their burners up. That's going to help them out a bit. And they can also help repair the looted tank. That is a Orks. And did that wipe the Interceptors? It did wipe the Interceptors. That is an amazing nuke there. That is a very good nuke. If a nuke can wipe a squad, I think it's a good nuke. Especially level 4 Interceptors over there. Well played. Pax must be very upset about that. They need to go tier 3 or something too. They could go tier 3 and immediately get paladins here. The Vindicator always twists his body around strangely. Not sure what's up with that. I guess scouts do the same thing. Getting extended operations there, giving him some more hit points. Using Exodus rounds against that weird boy now. Brother Captain did hit level 2, no war gear though. And can't get the cap on that central VP. Purgation are going to set up. And start Psy-cannoning those shooter boys. 106 to 203. Weird boy doing a good job guarding that VP. Big booms. Those stormtroopers having a rough time. They need to run. We have a Grey Knight Dreadnought, which is huge amounts of fun. Going for the melee upgrade, really, against the tank. It's going to be super effective against the infantry that are around. And very effective against the tank if it can catch it. Maybe they feel like they have enough with the Psy-cannon and the Vindicator Assassin if they're in the same spot. I don't think the tank can hang around for too long. Dreadnought will get 100 DPS with this and probably 40 splash on hits like the Space Marine Dreadnought. Gets more health too. 84 to 203 double cap for Damos. Pack's trying to grab that VP on the other side, can't quite do it. West side is red for the Orks as well. Sluggers hanging out here. Brother Captain's going to show up. I don't know if he can take them on though. They're still level 1, but they have those burners. And Brother Captain, even with the splash damage on We Are the Hammer, isn't amazing at taking out mobs of melee stuff. Mekboy with a beamy def gun, an anti-vehicle weapon to try and take on that Dreadnought, but now they're in melee with it, which is not great. Has that spinning special attack animation of the Grey Knight Dreadnought, which is fun. 38 to 203. Pax is very far behind on VPs now. I think they can get this tank down. The Dreadnought actually got hits on it, but is now taking hits from the beamy, which does huge damage. 180 per shot, can teleport while set up and chase it down maybe, but a little bit too low. A couple of more shots would have did it too. No cap game. Brother Captain was indeed slain by the sluggers over there. Stormtroopers on the way to help repair the Dreadnought. I guess the other fellas died. Deimos down to 2 units now. And they're getting some more Stormboys. The Dreadnought footprints, that's fun. Tier 3 for Pax. Just need some more requisition. They can drop paladins in, which would be pretty damn effective, I think. This guy needs repairs a lot. I'm nervous about how far forward that fella is at that much health with a Mekboy around that can teleport. Curious choice to get Stormboys when there's a melee Dreadnought on the field. We'll see how they do. They'll be looking to avoid it as much as possible, of course. I'm guessing they want to just get them on the Purgation. Find a Purgation and jump them. Mekboy getting some good shots. There's Energy Burst. Can they get it done? More Daka is up, and they do get it done. Global ability of the Mekboy and more Daka reduces the cooldown of weapons. It's pretty handy when you've got a beamy def gun. Mind Blades on the strike squad here. And even with Shooter Boy support, the Storm Boys couldn't deal with them. Level 4 and Mind Blades making a huge difference there. What's this? That is some soon-to-be dead Slugger Boys. Paladins on them, taking them out. Paladins called in by the Brother Captain. They are unique to the Brother Captain. Heavy melee Nemesis Demon Hammers, tons of health. And they're going to be a big problem for Deimos. 37 to 142. What do you get now? A tank, says Deimos. I was going to say maybe get out. Try to get commandos and a knob squad up. Probably commandos first to help harass the VPs and stuff into a knob squad. It's risky though because paladins with mind blades would mess up a Nob squad. The Mekboy can support very well, though, with Super Tough Beam and the battery pack. But that's expensive. Super Tough Beam is 50 power, isn't it? They've gone for the tank. Maybe dicey. Level 4 Purgation, Vindicare, and the Paladins that can tear apart everything. They've gone for an Incinerator. Vindicare Assassin flees, but they did cap that VP. It looks like. Paladins come to say hello with their hammers. Storm Boys go in, or not, they jump out, which is smart. It's not a fight they can do a lot with, especially at only level 2. Oh, but he found the Purgation and they are ripping them apart with some looted tank support, and down they go. Nicely done. I think that was their job. I think that's the whole reason they were purchased, and they did indeed delete those guys. Now they can focus on the Vindicare Assassin, try to isolate that guy and jump in. Just avoid the Paladins, try and frustrate them and make them run around. Looted tank is not going to be caught here. Paladins have super heavy infantry armor. We call them a Terminator variant in the game. So they can shrug off piercing damage from those shooter boys quite effectively. Looted tank getting awfully close to it. Trying to get the Vindicare Assassin down. That's a big risk. Oh wait. Battery pack did heal the looted tank there. It says friendly infantry on the tooltip. But I guess it does affect vehicles still. Which I'm quite glad about, actually. I like that. I wonder if that's a bug or just a bad tooltip. The looted tank is going to go down, though. I think the Vindicare is going to get it here. Oh, is it far enough away? Looks like it is far enough away. A couple of more shots. Maybe even one on rear armor there would have been enough. Not sure how much damage per shot this Vindicare does with Turbo Penetrator. 20 to 20 on the VPs. Vindicare is going to go down here. Looted tank shoots him in the face. This looted tank doing huge amounts of work. Huge amounts of work. Pax is down to 2 units. Deimos turns it around. Rocks dropped on the Paladins. Where are the Storm Boys at? They're back at base still. The Rocks there didn't kill a model, but it did huge amounts of damage to those Paladins. I think that was a good Rocks. Also knocked them off the cap. And here come Sluggers. And Sluggers with burners, even at level 1, will do a surprising amount of damage to Terminators and Terminator variants. There's the game. Didn't even need to kill him. Damos gets it with a double cap at the end on 20 VPs. Awesome stuff. Brother Captain still down at the end. Don't think the poor fella ever got any war gear. Mekboy level 7. Super effective. Beamy Death Gun and a battery pack at the end. What a topsy-turvy back and forth that was. Deimos started so strongly, but Pax came out swinging with those Purgation, did some great work. But Deimos gets it done at the end with a very shrewd Storm Boys purchase that killed those Purgation and put some pressure on the Vindicare, which then went down. Those Sluggers doing some work at the end too. There you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.